Hello, is this Mr. Gaming here with a new video? In this video I'm going to be doing the Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare coming to the Switch and PlayStation 4 Newswire video here of mine, but yes. Starting off, you did hear that correctly, it's only coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, as I will explain later on. But this time around, it kind of seems like it's going to be one whole package here of Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare. Not sure if it's going to be like a 2-disc kind of thing or anything like it was for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, where like Undead Nightmare was like a separate disc. At least on the Xbox 360 it was. But still, all in one package in a sense. And there is a 1 minute long like trailer here and whatnot for those that might be interested in that kind of thing, but there's nothing really significant in there from what I know. But yeah, release date for it all looks like it's going to be August 17th. And the newswire is from August 7th, 2023. But only 9 to 10 days for the release date here for the digital version, that is, as I'll get into later on. But yeah, first paragraph here, definitely a pretty juicy paragraph here, whatever. But yeah, Nintendo Switch, very first time it's going to be on a Nintendo system here for sure. It did not make it onto the Wii like they did with stuff like Manhunt 2, and then I think Bully was even on the Wii. This one was not though. It's the very first time for a Nintendo system. And then it's finally be properly coming to the PlayStation 4. It was the thing on like PlayStation Now, but I know they did remove that version of it. Which, funnily enough, was technically a way you could play on PC, but yeah. Unfortunately, there is not going to be a PC version of the game now. But yeah, it's going to be a brand new conversion. It does not really sound like it's even a remaster even. It sounds like they're just porting the game over from the 7th gen version. From the 7th gen systems over to like 8th gen, like the last generation systems. And it's by Double 11 Studios. So they are once again outsourcing it this time, like they did with the Trilogy with Grove Street Games, but this time it's Double 11 Studios. Now, Double 11 Studios, I gotta say, I do feel they're more trustworthy than Grove Street Games for sure was. But yeah, here's a list of like games and stuff they worked on. One of the more significant ones looks to be Minecraft Dungeons, with how huge Minecraft is and all after all. And then I was kind of looking around a little more on the Google search here, and there's mention of like Fallout Wiki, and then there's another mention here. They appear to have involvement with Fallout 76 as well, which is probably the closest work they've done to Red Dead beforehand, being another like shooting game and whatnot, in some senses at least. So they do seem to have some relations to like online gaming and stuff as well, but I will kind of get into some of that unfortunate news as well. But yeah. And unfortunately for PlayStation 5, there is not going to be a proper 9th generation version of the game. Unfortunately, it's only really for the 8th generation systems. Besides for Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. Those technically already have Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare, through backwards compatibility with like the Xbox 360 version. Plus, I believe there might even be like enhancements like 60 frames per second and stuff on that version or something. I know at least Grand Theft Auto 4, I believe, is also on the like Xbox Series systems, and it's 60 frames per second there. I assume the same thing is the case with Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare as well. But it's kind of more of its own version in a way for the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch. But yeah, PlayStation 5 can play for backwards compatibility, but it's not a proper PlayStation 5 version. which unfortunately means you're not going to be getting like the DualSense capabilities with the DualSense, with those like adaptive triggers, like the haptic feedback and all that kind of stuff. I would not even be surprised if you don't even get 60 frames as well. Red Dead Redemption 2 never got a 60 frame per second like patch or anything for that when it comes to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Rockstar is not very interested in going back to old games to give them 60 frames for just 9th gen systems, unfortunately. And then the second one mainly just explains the game, like what it is and whatnot, for like the plot and whatnot. But it does continue after Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously being a prequel. So like some of the like cliffhangers involving like Bill Williamson, Javier Escuela, and Dutch van der Linde. Some of those like cliffhanger kind of things do get answered in this game for those that never played the first Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, they connect very well with each other, which is pretty damn cool. And then for Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, it includes that DLC as well. Very cool spooky twist and whatnot of Red Dead Redemption. And in that one you get to play as like John Marston the whole time, which is very cool. And it's already been out, so I'm not gonna care about spoiling that, whatever. But yeah. Undead Nightmare does not sound like they're going to be changing very much with the game. Hopefully they at least fix Undead Nightmare, because this game is really fucking broken and glitchy and stuff, believe it or not. I even played it on the 7th of the day of release of this Rockstar Newswire. I went to like El Paraiso or whatever, like pretty much like the main like town area, I would say, of like the Mexico of the game, basically. And I was like running into a bunch of horses of like the war horse or something, like the horse with like the flames on it and whatnot. And like 5 to 10 minutes later, the zombies just like straight up lost their heads. And then I went to go and like save the game, and if you save the game during like the glitch state where like the zombies do not get their like heads and stuff for some reason, the game straight up just like freezes on like a black screen, and you pretty much just have to like dashboard on like the Xbox 360 and stuff like that. So Double 11 Studios and stuff like that, hopefully they're gonna be like fixing that. Because if they don't fix Undead Nightmare, then that's going to be such a pain in the ass to 100%. It is possible to 100% it in that glitch state. I have done it. But that's not going to be a very fun experience if they do not fix the issues with Undead Nightmare. At least that's a thing on the Xbox 360 version, and being a backward compatible version for the Xbox systems, that very much could be a thing as well. On the like Series X and like Xbox One, whatever. And then yeah, going into the last couple paragraphs here, pay attention to some of the wording here carefully. In addition to both classic single player experiences, newly supported languages include Chinese stuff, Korean, Polish, Brazilian, Portuguese, Russian, Latin American, Spanish, and all that. But this part here is very important. They say both classic single-player experiences. So it sounds like there is not going to be any multiplayer whatsoever. I believe they actually did the very same thing with the Grand Theft Auto 4, like the complete edition. I think it was a re-release they did on like PC or whatever. They did a re-release of the Grand Theft Auto 4 games on like PC. And I believe it did not include the multiplayer. So it does sound like these will only be the single player experiences and we will not get multiplayer for some reason. Which is pretty bullshit in my opinion, because I don't even think there's any Rockstar Social Club involvement whatsoever with the multiplayer on Red Dead Redemption. I could be wrong, but I do not believe there is. And as far as I understand with multiplayer games, they're usually peer-to-peer, so you're connecting like console to console. So literally, I don't think it involves anything with any Rockstar servers on like their end to like include multiplayer. So like, I don't see why they're excluding multiplayer. Besides for a very deliberate bullshit decision, really. So that's gonna be quite the bummer. Now it's just the wording here that gives that kind of vibe. I'm pretty sure they're not gonna include multiplayer. In fact, I think there's been kind of some confirmation I've been seeing on like Twitter and stuff that they're not going to be doing that. And then finally, for the last paragraph here, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, it will be $50 on the Nintendo Switch eShop and in the PlayStation Store. And then if you want it physically, you're going to have to wait until October 13th. Because for Rockstar, apparently it's very important that you stay to their ecosystem or like the online like store ecosystems so that they get as much percentage as possible, apparently. As far as I know, that's usually the understanding why they do digital releases early and stuff like that. Pretty scummy business practices, I would say, really. I feel that physical should always be alongside digital, in my opinion. That's just the way it should be. That's the way it once was earlier on in earlier times and stuff like that. I don't know why things like that are changing lately, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah, you can add them to the wish list. Sounds like you're not going to be able to have the ability to pre-order them, unfortunately. Pre-order for the Trilogy Definitive Edition was kind of disastrous. I believe it like unlocked like a few hours early, so maybe that's why they're doing it. I don't know. But yeah, quite frankly, it's a bunch of disappointment. But me personally, as a PlayStation 5 player, I am actually very excited for this release though. Because I assume this release you should be able to live stream it and you should be able to do like video recordings and stuff like that. Because back on PlayStation Now is like a streaming service, so I assume you can't do live streaming through PlayStation Now since you're having to stream your like button inputs and stuff already when you do like PlayStation Now streaming, from my understanding. So it should allow for more content creation purposes, so it's nice for that. I just really would have wished they would have done a PlayStation 5 proper 9th generation version of the game. I really do not understand why they cannot just have like at least certain improvements, like maybe DualSense stuff, I don't know. And yeah, now the whole entire Red Dead series will be available when it comes to the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 as proper versions. That is not through streaming, which is very exciting. One of the more major downsides, of course, is it's not available for PC. Unfortunately, that is not going to be changing. It's very unfortunate. And yeah, very excited for Red Dead Redemption for sure. 100% on Red Dead Redemption, 100% completion, I think is definitely more interesting in the first game than it was in the second game. There was actually like a cool clothing unlock and stuff like that for 100%. So as a huge single player gamer myself, I am kind of more interested in the first game than the second game, kind of, I will admit. Now I think that's enough personal stuff and everything, and I think that is finally be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed.